we owe that to Rashna and Furo for organizing this excellent seminar. I think Furo is doing a wonderful job. But not only that, I think Furo has already demonstrated the innovation part. That also in a very complex space, such as politics and peace.
Furo Innovations is doing great. However, you should continue to organize such talks, programs, and name it Perspective of Peace through different lenses with different segments of the society.
Two-nation theory, in simple words, today we call it political Islam. What they wrote in that particular document, we are different nation entirely because we have a different religion. So religion constitute a nationality in two-nation theory. And this is what political Islam is. They said we are not Arabs, we are not Baloch, we are not Bengali or Marathi or anything else. We are one nation, we are Muslim. And that's the whole idea of political Islam. That's the whole idea of Al-Qaeda and at some point Taliban. And that's the idea of ISIS. That's why when they occupied a large chunk of Syria and Iraq, they called it the Islamic State. So this is the ideology of political Islam, and in Indian subcontinent, it came from that particular two-nation theory.
You are doing what you are doing. You are doing the dialogue, which is very important. And I come from a center which is called Center for Policy Dialogue. To end with a historical, anecdote on that. The founder of our center, Professor Rehman Soban, a iconic figure in Bangladesh and a doyen on the profession and many other things. So he was in Cambridge, and his classmates were Manmohan Singh and Amartya Sen. Amartya Sen, in his biography, I think it is in Argumentative Indians, he wrote that, my friend, the Bengalis love adda, that is, public reasoning, or debating, or it's not benign gossiping.
We know about that in Delhi as well.
So they have set up a full center to do an adda or discussion or dialogue. It is called Center for Policy Dialogue. Amartya Sen has it about our center in his biography, Argumentative Indian. So, Furo is taking forward that tradition of public reasoning with evidence and transparency and participation and inclusivity. I welcome you. A congratulations.
The biggest challenges faced in the world right now is populism and populist leaders surrendering to counterintuitive policies which oftentimes go against the best interest of their nation's peace and security. The role of civil society, think tanks, NGOs, and policy institutes are even more important in this given context, not just to influence decision makers, but to keep citizens informed and aware of matters that are of importance to them. A democracy can only function so long as to the extent of an informed citizenry. This is the role companies like you should play to unite people across the borders, to falter the lines that divide people, and to pollinate people based on common creed, belief, and value systems. If people of two countries can be resilient in their trade, commerce, art, culture, and history, then there's hardly any political lines that can draw them apart. First step towards this direction is communication and understanding each other through right measures. If you can do it right, then you have made a huge bargain towards regional and world peace.
Well, I think Furo Innovation is doing a great job. I think I will relate this in to Rachana as well. Last time when we had a small conversation, most often, as I said, people talk a lot, but they don't do something concrete. I think Furo Innovation is doing something great by bringing all the like-minded people and propagating the world peace, which is very beautiful. Peace itself is a very beautiful subject. which many people talk but don't do it in reality. And that's why we have a lot of issues. And the one thing that I would really like the Furo Innovations to take forward is to propagate the values of peace and development in the minds of a young child, because finally it is the children who is going to become an adult and actually bring the peace in the world.
Rachna Furo is already doing such an amazing job. And I don't mean to I'm not just saying that because, we're on a panel together, but I think just being able to connect, and I'm really looking forward to listening to everyone else speak today. But I think learning from each other is such a huge way to look at it. We're so, often I think those of us who are working on kind of grassroots level, we're so caught up myself. I'm talking about my own experience, but kind of looking at things very very focused in a very Sri Lankan context. We don't always have the opportunity to look at how things work elsewhere and what kind of other possible options there are to resolve conflict, or what options there are to maybe approach certain subjects, certain topics. And I think these kinds of platforms are exactly what we need. But maybe because you're asking for a suggestion, perhaps more kind of pairings with people to be able to have longer, more committed conversations, I think is really, I'm very invested in learning about people, about their stories and about the places they come from. And for people like me, this is an amazing opportunity to find out more about the people that I share this world with.
Most of the time we look the differences, and that's how problem is created. More and more problem is created. So let's focus on commonalities, act on commonalities. That's my main agenda. And there is a lot of connectivity in SAR, especially in we need to work with the young people. So SAC needs to work in improving the connectivity, youth access, collaboration, research, and there's a lot of tourism prospects. So we need to focus on positive effect on relation among our countries and commonalities, which is not happening. And then SAARC has a potential transform the South Asian
I think you must continue to do what you're doing today. I think this interaction is very essential. We must continue to talk. As long as we're talking, I think there's a hope. When we stop talking, then I think we've lost hope. So I think first foremost, I would say you continue to talk. You widen the circle.
Tell Mr. Modi that rather than giving aid to Sri Lanka and extending all the lines of credit, call the Sri Lankan hierarchy and tell them, I have access to markets. I'm going to open my export markets to you guys for our 400 million people. I'm going to allow your tourism guys to come into Sri Lanka, from Sri Lanka to India. And I'm going to give you a 10 billion credit line, which is not on finance, but on trade and services.